Okay, let's take a minute to look over the curriculum of what we'll be doing this year in English 4. So again, my contact information is at the top. Feel free to use that. And let's look at our different units. So we are going to start right away with a personal essay writing unit. It's our first unit of the course, and I don't know how many of you have thought about applying to college. I'm assuming some of you have. A lot of you have probably. But how far you've investigated that process, if you've looked at the Common App, if you've looked at the SUNY app, if you have no idea what the heck that means, and that's okay too. But for most of the college applications that you will be completing, you need a writing sample. So we are going to complete those in class, which is awesome because you'll have it done. It's a huge weight off of your shoulders. And then you'll have me, and you'll also have your peers. We'll be doing some peer editing to be able to look over that and review it, to edit it, to revise it. So hopefully you're sending forth the best copy that you have written to whatever colleges you will be applying to. If you have absolutely no interest in college at this point, that's okay too. You can use these essays for job interviews. You can use them in the military process. Sometimes they'll ask for a writing sample. They're also used as a reflective essay. So you can reflect on parts of your life. And for me to get a chance to get to know you a little bit better. Most of you are fairly new to me and unfamiliar. So this allows me to get to know you a little bit better. And these essays can also be used for scholarships. When we get to the late winter, early spring, you'll start looking at various scholarships. So you can use them for a variety of tasks and a variety of purposes. We're not actually going to this short story unit right after this. I've added something in, and I'll explain why. I have a student teacher. I think I referred to that before. She will be coming in late October, I think actually on Halloween. And I've already talked to her. I worked with her last year. She's awesome. And she has requested to do the senior research paper with you. So I wanted to be able to budget that time in for her. And so I'm going to do a really short novel with all of you first, and you can add it right here. It's called The Five People You Meet in Heaven, and it's by Mitch Albom. You do not have to purchase the book. We have them here at the school, and I'll give them to you. So you will all have your own copy. I don't know if anyone read Tuesdays with Morrie, either last year or in 10th grade. It's the same author. This one is not nonfiction, however. It's a fictional account. And it's not a really long book, but it's a really inspirational book that we'll read at the beginning of this year. Then we will move actually down here. Sorry, we're kind of all over the place, to the senior research paper. And again, that will be my student teacher. And so let me just briefly touch upon this. I know you've heard horror stories about the senior paper. Everyone thinks it's the hardest thing about senior year. Don't buy into that. It is not difficult at all. The most difficult part of the senior research paper, and you can ask anyone who's done it, are deadlines and meeting those deadlines and just making yourself accountable. If you put it off, if you procrastinate, that will not work well for you because deadlines are a huge part of your grade for that particular unit. So please don't panic about it. Your research topic, whatever you choose to write about, will be subject to final approval by me and by Miss Shaw. She'll be the student teacher that will be working with us. You don't need to worry about it right now. We'll talk about it more when the time comes. But start thinking about ideas. If there's something you're really interested in, start researching the internet and different new and innovative ideas about that topic. It's never too early to start looking. You can even type in, interesting research topics for high school students and see what it brings up. Typically, we have you write about something that is geared toward what you're going to do in the future. So if you know you want to be a doctor, or a nurse, you're in the medical field, that's what you're headed for, then typically you do something in that field. Your research will be something medical or in the health related profession and career. If you want to be a teacher, then your topic is usually in the educational realm. But again, we'll talk about that more when the time comes. So you will learn the research writing process in class. It's not like you come in and we suddenly go, hey, next week you owe me a 6 to 8 page paper. It doesn't work like that. It's a process. It's slow. We'll go through it together. And after you've done that, there's an outline, there are note cards, there's all kinds of things before we actually sit down, and then you will write a 6 to 8 page research paper. We use the MLA format in doing all of our citations. Again, you will learn all of that, so it's nothing to worry about. When we're done with the senior research paper, we will probably move to the Kite Runner. That's by Khaled Hosseini. Again, that's provided by the school. We will then probably do up here some short story units. Different authors we'll be looking at. I have a unit of Flannery O'Connor. She is a Southern Gothic writer. We have some short stories by Raymond Carver. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Raymond Carver and William Faulkner this year. If time allows, I might. But we will probably do a Richard Matheson unit as well. And I think you guys will really like his stories. They're suspenseful, they're ironic. And then after we read those, you'll write an author's intent essay. You'll also be writing an essay after you read The Kite Runner and after The 5 People You Meet in Heaven as well. The other thing I wanted to point out are the documentaries. If any of you have HBO, or if you even watch it on TV or on the internet, you may have heard of Vice. HBO has a channel called Vice News, and they do about 30-minute documentaries regarding different current affairs. And most of these are all really underreported stories, or stories that have been distorted or are controversial, or have, created a lot of buzz in the community. So every other Friday, it's a nice way to end our week. We'll be watching one of those documentaries. They're really awesome, and awesome and powerful. I hope that they make you think. I hope that they change your views on things or reaffirm your views on certain things. And we'll take time to discuss those. You will record your reactions to the topics that are presented. And once every marking period, you'll write a reflective paper on one of the documentaries that you really liked. Last year, we watched a documentary on global warming. We watched one on the rape crisis in India. We watched one on the rhinos being decimated for their horns and thinking that they're being used for medicinal purposes. We watched one on the baby farms in India, surrogacy. We watched really, really cool issues and topics. And so we'll do the same thing again this year. We also do a unit, a career interest in planning, where we will write a resume, you'll write a cover letter. Some of you already have those, and some of you will be doing them in BOCES, and that's okay. You can use what you've already done or what you do in BOCES in here as well. But some of you have never done that. So we'll do that unit together, and we'll also learn and practice the interviewing process. And that goes with Gateways, which is a career fair. You'll attend that in the spring. Last year it was at SUNY Canton. It's been at Cheel before. I'm not sure where they'll have it. I think it was in March. I went last year with the seniors, and you will go to the career fair and you will be expected to complete a minimum of 3 different interviews with the employers that are there. I think Alcoa was there last year. The casino was there. There were a ton of lawyers, people in the education field, but we'll know all of the interviewers closer to that time. If we have time at the end, we'll also complete a book called Almost Home. That's also provided by the school, and it's a book of runaway teens and their stories. So it's nonfiction. And then the very last unit, and you don't need to worry about your titles yet, is an independent reading project. Those books are the only books that will need to be purchased or secured on your own, meaning you don't have to buy it. You can go to the library, you can borrow it from me, you can borrow it from someone else. But I have a specific list that you will choose from. we'll probably do that, look at the titles approximately in April. And there's all kinds of books. There are thrillers, there's classics, there's suspense, there's nonfiction, there's books about sports, there's books about serial killers. There's all kinds of things on the list. So I know that all of you will be able to find a book that interests you. And again, you won't have to buy it. You can get it out from the library as well. And then we'll do a project with it, and it will be our final culminating piece of the year before the final exam. As far as grading goes, every writing task and exercise that you have, that makes up the majority of your grade. It's 30% of your average in the course. Our writing task consists of different free writes, various responses. Obviously, the essays are a big part of that, sometimes some creative writing tasks, and then the research paper is also counted twice in your grade. Please be aware of my deadlines. I am very strict with them. So all of my major papers, I will accept them late, but I take 5 points off the overall grade each day that it's late. And then here's the big one. After 3 days, I no longer accept it. It's done. So please make sure that you are paying attention to that. And if you are late for any reason, you've got 3 days and that's it. Quizzes and exams make up 25% of your average. Obviously, we have quizzes about the books that we're reading, sometimes some vocab quizzes, and then there's final tests or projects at the end of those books and units. Classwork and homework. I don't give a ton of homework, but when I do, it's 20% of your average. And these are some examples of what the homework could look like. It might be discussion questions. It might be even just to read further ahead in the book. And that's usually what it is. Writing tasks, sometimes rough drafts. Here is my grading system for homework. The check plus plus is a 100. You did it all. I'll let you read through that. I don't need to go through all of it. But here's the other thing. I do not accept late classwork or homework. If it's not done the day that it's due, it's a 0. You cannot make them up. Excuse me. The only exception would be as if you're absent and then you have those 5 days to get your work to me. Projects. Those are 25% of your grade. Again, some will be individual, some will be group-based, some will be worked on in class, others will be worked on independently. Like the writing, I'll accept them late, but I take 5 points off each day. And after 3 days, I no longer accept it. I have a lot of you. I have 120 to 130 students in my everyday. I can't accept late work. I don't have the time to be having students bring me work at all different times or whenever they feel they can get it done. I have those deadlines for a reason, and you have to get used to that too. If you plan on going to college, if you plan on having a career or a job, deadlines are very important. So again, I just said it reiterated that again. And for the senior paper, each day that it's late, it's 2 points off the overall grade of the paper. So that's pretty significant. I'm going to stop the recording now. And if you have any questions, please raise your hand and I'll be more than happy to go through them with you.